Okay, this is my audience for my persuasive speech. Hi, my name is Rachel Grenier, and I'm going to give my persuasive speech on why you should all be organ donors. Imagine yourself in this scenario, sitting on a plane headed to New York to visit a friend after a long week of work. You sit next to a man holding a very small child, you guess probably 2 or 3 years old. The little boy is smiling at you, so you smile back and start to play with him. You strike up a conversation with his father. He is headed to New York too, but for a very different reason. His child, the boy sitting on his lap, who you guess is about 2 or 3, is about to get an organ transplant, a heart transplant. The father is teary-eyed as he says that the boy is receiving a heart from a little girl that was no bigger than his own son. She died in a car accident. One child saving another's life, he says, as his voice shakes and his eyes water. It is truly a miracle. Situations like this happen every day, but some aren't as lucky as this young boy. People are saved every day because of organ donation. In order for me to persuade you to become an organ donor, I must first explain to you what organ donation is, how the process works. Webster's Dictionary. According to Webster's Dictionary, organ donation is a process of giving an organ or part of an organ for the purpose of transplantation into another person. In order for a person to become an organ donor, blood and oxygen must flow to this organ until the time of recovery to ensure validity. The organ donation is put simply, is one giving their organ to another person in order for them to be able to live or thrive in the society that we live in today. Blood and oxygen must flow into the organ to keep it alive until the recovery, or else the organ will not work. A dead organ is the equivalent to no donation because it will not function properly. Organ donation systems can be very complex and scary. By defining and describing the process, it will ease people's concerns. Now that we have a better understanding of what organ donation is and how it works, we can discuss the pros and cons of organ donation and why the pros outweigh the cons. In an article called Organ Donation Pros and Cons, it states that people may have doubts regarding organ donation. While a person may wish to donate organs, his or her religious beliefs or family may contradict that. However, the fact is that a selfless act like this, though controversial, can tilt the balance of life and death in favor of a person in need. Therefore, it is essential to know some pros and cons to organ donation. I believe the pros outweigh the cons. Too many reasons to be an organ donor and not enough reasons why you shouldn't be. Some of the pros that I found from the same website, the article titled Organ Donation Pros and Cons, includes it improves the quality of life. This is specific to kidney or tissue donation. Kidney treatments, artificial treatments without organ donation, the person has to go into the hospital a lot more. They spend a lot more time in the hospital and at the doctor's office, and they just can't live a fully normal life. With a kidney transplant, the person does not have to be dead, as in like a major transplant such as a heart transplant. You can live without one kidney since we all have 2, and so it's a great way to give back to a person in need. Another pro is that it helps the family of the deceased give to charity. A lot of times when a person dies, the family likes to give to charity or to an organization that the person was known for helping, or they feel like they should give something to society in honor of the person that has died. And Organ donation is a really good way of doing this. I mean, it can save lives. It can save up to 8 lives just for donating your organs after you die. And the last pro I discuss is going to be social responsibility. We all have a responsibility to our community and to pretty much the human race to like give back and do good for all that we come in contact with, and organ donation is a great way of doing that. Some cons that I researched include the possibility of complications. A lot of people can be afraid of organ donation because of the complications with either you as the donor or the recipient. However, this should not stop you from becoming an organ donor. I know I did Dakota-a-thon, which is like a dance marathon thing at USD, and I met almost all the kids that I met that night were recipients of organ donation, and they would not be alive without organ donation. So it's a great way, like I said, to give back to the community and people around us. Another con is there's a negative psychological effect on the family of the donor. Whether this donor is deceased or still alive, if they're deceased, the family worries, well, we're burying or cremating the person that has died without all of their vital organs, so it can be as if they're not whole or they're not fully there. But I don't see that as true, because you're giving life to someone who otherwise might not have life. And whether the person is alive, like I said, the family could worry about, complications, like I stated above, complications with the surgery that they have to go through, or other things, infection after the surgery. But like I said, it's minimal. The complications are extremely minimal to organ donation, and the success rate is way greater than not. And lastly, the organ donor doesn't get to choose his or her recipient. This is a major one because a lot of people want to donate their organs to a specific family or a specific person, I found when I was researching, but you just can't do that. There's a huge list of people that need donations, that need an organ, and it goes by who is most likely to die, who needs an organ first, who got there first. There's all these different factors that go into the list, and it's not just like a list was thrown together randomly. And you have to realize, if you do become an organ donor, that your organs could go to someone that you don't even know, but you also have to realize that it's going to save someone's life. And learning about the pros and cons of organ donation can have a major impact on people's decisions to become an organ donor. And I believe that the pros really outweigh the cons, like I explained earlier. And there's too many reasons to be an organ donor than to not be one. Because the pros outweigh the cons, I believe that everyone should be an organ donor. Several shocking facts that I found might change your mind about organ donation. Should someone in the audience be against it? Thirdly, I'm going to go into depth about why everyone should be an organ donor. Several intriguing facts about organ donation you may not know. This could change your mind, truly change your mind about organ donation. I read an article in a website called New York Organ Donor Network. In this article, there was a quote, and it says, one organ donor can save up to 8 lives. Some donors can also save up to or improve the lives of 50 people by donating different kinds of tissues in your body or your eyes. Furthermore, up to 120,000 people are on the waiting list for an organ donation in the U.S. Nationwide, the average percentage of organ donors is only 47%, of people ages 18 and up. According to an article off of WebMD, anytime you are in the hospital, even when you are an organ donor, you cannot be denied service. A lot of people are worried about, if I'm an organ donor, I get in a car accident, I go into the hospital, it's a life or death situation. Are the doctors just going to let me die to save my organs for someone else? They cannot do that. That is illegal, and it's just not something that they would do. Most of the times, doctors don't even look at your license or the registry to see if you're an organ donor in that situation until you have actually died. And the doctors involved in taking care of you do not know that you are an organ donor at that time, but they're trying to make you better and save your life. So that's one thing you can take off your chest of worrying about being an organ donor. They like I said, they'll do everything they can to take care of you and truly save your life. There are some benefits to organ donation, all of which contribute to the fact that everyone should be an organ donor. It is really a great sacrifice, whether you are alive or you are dead. Just thinking about your dead body and having the organs taken out of it. But you have to realize that it really is saving someone's life. Learning what organ donation is and how it works, discussing the pros and cons of organ donation, and educating you on statistics about organ donation that you may not have known about before this speech has hopefully persuaded you to become an organ donor. As the plane makes its descent from the air to the ground and New York is in sight, you are sad to say goodbye to the little boy who is sitting next to you. However, you are filled with hope as you think about how the little boy will grow up to live a normal and happy life, all because of an organ donor. Cases such as this one are not uncommon, and he is lucky to have an organ donor. Sadly, there is an extreme shortage of organ donors, so it is not every day that someone's life is saved. This is why we all need to help and become an organ donor today. Thank you.